Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're viewing. Joe Davis, Southern New Hampshire University, Justice 224, Legal Research Methods. Today, I've added an additional sample paper for the Module 5 assignment. And that is, many of you in selecting your legal issues have looked for more complex issues. I've tried to guide many of you to, Victor shot Private Dan. What crime did he commit? What crime committed when Benny and Victor exchanged the gun and he went after him? Throw the gun off the bridge. Those. Some of you have looked for more complex issues, and I've reiterated how difficult it can be to research. So I've added a sample paper that has three of the 5 legal issues in this paper are more complex. As you can see, was the entry police made into Victor's home lawful? These are all going to be case law decisions, case law research. Okay, and I'm going to take you through step by step, including the entire example for was the entry police made into Victor's home lawful. The sample paper also has, can Benny be indicted under the RICO statute as part of a corrupt organization because the crimes he committed were part of a gang initiation? A couple of you have asked about that. Very complex, as you will see if that's your interest. The last one is one that many of you have mentioned. Did police violate Victor's Fourth Amendment right by not having parental presence? That doesn't say parent present, it says parental presence during his interrogation at the police station. And the sample paper walks you through that. So let's take a look at the, excuse me, at the first one. We're going to talk about complex issues, just like I said. This particular sample paper is very well researched, very well organized, and very well written. It is, in fact, an excellent paper. Legal issue number 1. This is going to be exactly what your paper looks like. This is exactly what the sample looks like. You'll have a heading that says Legal Issue 1, and I would suggest bold. Okay, the issue was the entry police made into Victor's home lawful? The answer, based on the fact pattern analysis, police are conducting an investigation into the shooting of Private Dan. Police quickly identify Victor as the shooter through video surveillance of the incident. Police then respond to Victor's residence and speak with his mother. Victor's mother tells the police that Victor isn't home and that she has no idea where he is. Police push Victor's mother out of the way and enter the house to search for Victor. There's your legal issue. Now, the next part is the rule and applicable law, and each of these headings excuse me, is one of the critical elements in the rubric. So you should be seeing this all come together. Under Dorman v. the U.S. in 1970 case, examined the quote hot or fresh pursuit doctrine. I've tried to write to some of you about this. Now you're going to see it in legal research. Dorman v. U.S. 1970 examined the hot or fresh pursuit doctrine and determined that under certain circumstances, police can conduct a warrantless entry into a home to search for a suspect when they have probable cause to arrest for a serious felony and reasonable belief the suspect is now in the residence. Again, under Warden v. Hayden in 67, under exigent circumstances, police can enter a residence without a warrant, and in United States v. McConney in 1984, exigent circumstances were defined. Okay, so now we move to the analysis. We know we have a serious crime, the attempted murder of a United States soldier. We know they're in fresh pursuit. We know that there are exigent circumstances. Is Victor going to commit another crime, or is Victor going to harm himself? Okay. The analysis and application of this section is fresh pursuit can be defined as pursuit by a law enforcement officer with or without a warrant for the purpose of preventing the escape or effecting the arrest of any person who is suspected of committing or having committed a misdemeanor or a felony. This definition is not open for discussion unless you want to become an attorney and find a case and take it to the United States Supreme Court. This is what fresh pursuit is defined as. In United States v. McConney, there's your citation for you. Exigent circumstances for law enforcement are defined as those circumstances that would cause a reasonable person to believe that entry or other relevant prompt actions was necessary to prevent physical harm to the officers or other persons, the destruction of relevant evidence, the escape of a suspect, or some other consequences improperly frustrating legitimate law enforcement efforts. Based on the fact pattern based on the fact pattern that police were in the process of investigating the shooting of Private Dan, which had just occurred. Victor, a 13-year-old male, was quickly identified as the suspect from video surveillance of the incident. Police went immediately to Victor's residence in an attempt to locate him and encountered Victor's mother, who informs the police that he's not home. Acting under the fresh pursuit doctrine, having probable cause to believe Victor was inside the residence, police conducted a warrantless entry into the residence to search for Victor, who had committed attempted murder, and found him inside the residence. The findings of that analysis now. We've had our facts, we have our legal issue, our facts. Now we have our finding. The legal issue is whether the entry into Victor's residence by law enforcement was lawful and did not violate Victor's Fourth Amendment rights against unlawful search and seizure. The police did not violate Victor's Fourth Amendment rights against unlawful search and seizure, and the warrantless entry into the home met the requirements under the fresh pursuit doctrine as well as certain requirements under exigent circumstance. So there's your explanation. You have the case law, you have the analysis, and here's the findings. The other two complex issues are examples that are in the sample report. So if you want to see them, you're going to write about them, or you want to see another one that walks you through case law decisions. This one, can Benny be indicted under a RICO statute as part of a corrupt organization because the crimes he committed were part of a gang initiation? The RICO statutes are racketeering statutes, and they were originally introduced, to go after organized crime. The courts have since held, as the case laws will show you and tell you, that if this is going to be one of your issues, that gangs have been identified. They have to meet a certain criteria, but have been identified as criminal organizations. The next one, did police violate Victor's Fourth Amendment right by not having parental presence during his interrogation at the police station? Again, many of you have asked about this, wanted to write about this, but you want to jump straight to the Fourth Amendment. You have to go through the case law steps, and this paper does outline those very clearly. I hope that helps. I didn't want to just continue to have slides with whole paragraphs on them. I understand that's not the world's best use of PowerPoint. But what I've tried to provide you is this walkthrough so that you can look at these PowerPoint presentations. The copies will be attached. You'll have the sample paper, and you'll also have the other sample paper with what I would call the less complex, the simpler legal issues, conspiracy, attempted murder, destruction of evidence, or obstructing criminal investigations. Same thing for Victor's mother. I'm trying to think of the others. Assault with a deadly weapon, or aggravated assault when Benny points the gun at the person on the bridge. Anyway, I hope this helps. There are 3 PowerPoint presentations now, and if you need anything, let me know. Keep those cards and letters coming.